say what up to Tata. Still sipping my top, sitting courtside. Knicks and Nets give me high five. Nigga, I be spiked out. I could trip a referee. Tell by my attitude that I most definitely from. Hey.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Verse Up. Today, we're diving into Empire State of Mind by Jay-Z and Alicia Keys, a song that celebrates the heart, hustle, and spirit of New York City. This track is packed with everyday expressions, slang, and idioms that show you how English is used naturally in real life. Here's how it works. First, you'll hear a short part of the song. Then, we'll break down the key expressions. After that, you'll take a quick test to lock in what you've learned. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a short story that puts every new word into action. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm out at Brooklyn. Now I'm down in Tribeca, right next to the Narrow. But I'll be hood forever. I'm the new Sinatra. And since I made it here, I can make it anywhere. Yeah, they love me everywhere.
Let's kick off the breakdown with the phrase, to be out somewhere. This means to have left or moved from a specific location. When Jay-Z says he's out at Brooklyn, he's talking about physically leaving the borough, but not emotionally. He may have moved on, but Brooklyn is still in him. You might hear this in real life like, I'm out that neighborhood, finally living on my own now. Or, she's out that toxic job and feeling better already. That brings us to Brooklyn. It's one of New York City's 5 boroughs and a major cultural hotspot, especially in the world of hip-hop. Jay-Z is representing where he's from with pride. Brooklyn isn't just where he grew up, it's a core part of his identity. Next, we've got hood, and the phrase to be hood. Hood is short for neighborhood, often referring to a rough or underprivileged urban area. But to be hood goes deeper. It means you carry the mindset, strength, and hustle that comes from growing up in that environment. When Jay says he'll be hood forever, he's saying success didn't erase his street smarts or where he came from. In real life, you might hear, even in a suit, he's still hood, sharp and real. Now let's look at to make it. This means to succeed, especially when the odds are stacked against you. Jay-Z made it in New York, a city known for being competitive and brutal, so he believes he can make it anywhere. That confidence reflects the song's broader theme, resilience and ambition rooted in struggle. You'll hear this kind of phrasing often. She made it out of poverty and now runs her own company. Or, if he can make it in this industry, he can thrive anywhere. Next up is the slang phrase, to cop. This means to buy, obtain, or get something. Originally street slang for buying or getting drugs, but now you'll hear it for almost anything, from material possessions to information. When Jay-Z says he used to cop in Harlem, he's talking about his past hustling days, likely buying or dealing drugs. The word has evolved, though. Now you might hear someone say, I'm gonna cop those new sneakers before they sell out. Or, he used to cop weed from my crew on the corner. That takes us straight to Harlem, the place he's talking about. Harlem's a neighborhood in Upper Manhattan, famous for its deep Black and Latino cultural roots, especially the Dominican community. In hip-hop and jazz history, Harlem is iconic. Now let's talk about Hola. It's the Spanish word for hello. When Jay greets his Dominicanos with Hola, it's a nod of respect, acknowledging the community he was surrounded by in Harlem.
I used to cop in Harlem, all of my Dominicanos right there up on Broadway. Pulled me back to that McDonald's, took it to my stash spot, 560 State Street.
The next phrase is, bring one back to something. This means something triggers a vivid memory or emotion from your past. In Jay-Z's case, walking through Broadway brought him back to a McDonald's where he and other hustlers used to hang out. You might say, this song brings me back to late-night drives with my friends. Or, that cologne brings me back to when I was 18 and broke. Let's keep rolling with the next phrases. Stash and stash spot. To stash something means to hide it, usually because it's valuable or illegal. A stash spot is that secret hiding place. Jay-Z mentions a real address, 560 State Street, where he used to keep money or drugs tucked away. For instance, he stashed the keys behind the loose brick in the wall, or the cops couldn't find the stash spot. It was genius.
Catch me in the kitchen like a Simmons whipping pastry. Cruising down A Street, off-white Lexus. Driving so slow, but BK is from Texas. Me, I'm out that Bed-Stuy, home of that boy Biggie. Now I live on Billboard, and I brought my boys with me.
That leads us into kitchen, which in street slang, especially in drug culture, is the place where drugs gets cooked or prepared. Jay's using a clever metaphor here. He compares cooking crack to baking, and even ties it to the Simmons sisters, whose fashion brand is named Pastry. You could hear someone say, they turned that back room into a full-on kitchen operation, and it definitely doesn't mean they're making cupcakes. Speaking of baking, let's talk about to whip. Literally, it means to mix something, like when you whip up eggs or frosting. But in street slang, it's used for preparing drugs as well. Jay blends both meanings. Pastry chefs whip dough, and dealers whip product. In everyday conversation, it could just mean something like, she was whipping up frosting for her cupcakes. But depending on the context, it could carry a heavier meaning. Now onto cruise. This means to drive slowly and smoothly, usually to enjoy the ride or show off. Jay's cruising down 8th Street in a luxury Lexus. You might hear someone say, we were cruising around with the top down and music blasting. Or, he cruises through his old neighborhood to remind himself how far he's come. Now let's take a look at Bed-Stuy. Short for Bedford-Stuyvesant, this Brooklyn neighborhood has a rep for being tough, proud, and culturally rich, especially in hip-hop history. Jay-Z grew up there, and so did Biggie Smalls, which makes this shout-out feel like a tribute to the roots of greatness. Next is Billboard, and it has a double meaning. On one hand, Billboard refers to the official music charts. Being on it means you've made it big. On the other, it literally means those giant ads you see on city buildings. When Jay says he lives on Billboard, he's flexing both, chart-topping success and his face all over town. Someone might say, their album topped the Billboard 200 this week, or his face is all over Times Square billboards. He made it.
Say what up to Tata, still sipping my ties. Sitting courtside, Knicks and Nets give me high five. Nigga, I be spiked out, I could trip a referee. Tell by my attitude that I most definitely from. Hey.
Let's move to something a little more relaxed, to sip. This means to drink slowly and casually, like you're savoring the moment. Jay's friend is chillin' with a Mai Tai, which paints a picture of laid-back luxury. It's that I've earned this vibe. For example, they sat on the beach sipping cocktails all day, or she sipped her tea while scrolling her phone. Now let's talk about to sit courtside. Sitting courtside means sitting in the front row of an NBA game, right next to the court, a VIP spot. Jay being courtside with the Knicks and Nets shows just how big he is. Players give him high fives mid-game. For instance, he's sitting courtside every game like he owns the team. And that brings us to high five. A high five is that classic celebratory hand slap between two people, and it's usually used with the verb give. When Jay says the Knicks and Nets give him high fives, he's showing just how much love and recognition he gets from the players. In real life, you could hear, she gave me a high five when I got the promotion, or we all gave high fives after winning the tournament. Let's jump into the next phrase, spiked out. This is a fun one. It refers to being courtside at basketball games all the time, just like Spike Lee, the famous film director and die-hard Knicks fan. Spike's known for his bold outfits, loud energy, and constant presence. When Jay-Z says he's spiked out, he's claiming that same vibe, flashy, respected, and always in the building. Next up is to trip someone. This means to cause someone to stumble or fall by sticking your foot out. Jay's joking that he's sitting so close to the court, he could actually trip a referee. It's a brag, a flex. In regular conversation, you might hear, the kid tripped his brother as a joke, or she almost tripped the waiter by accident. And since we're talking basketball, let's break down referee. In sports, a referee is the official who controls the game, makes the calls, and enforces the rules. On the court, they're the authority. It's sometimes shortened to ref. Real-world examples sound like, the referee blew the whistle for a foul, or don't argue with the ref. It never works. Finally, we've got attitude. This word refers to how someone carries themselves, their behavior, energy, and mindset. It can be confident, bold, aggressive, or all of the above. Jay's saying you can tell he's from New York just by his attitude. Someone might say, he's got that New York attitude. Fast, sharp, no nonsense. Or, her attitude says she's been through a lot and came out stronger.
Yeah, I'm out at Brooklyn, now I'm down in Tribeca, right next to the Narrow, but I'll be hood forever. I'm the new Sinatra, and since I made it here, I can make it anywhere. Yeah, they love me everywhere. I used to cop in Harlem, all of my Dominicanos right there up on Broadway. Pulled me back to that McDonald's, took it to my stash spot, 560 State Street. Catch me in the kitchen like a Simmons whipping pastry, cruising down A Street, off-white Lexus, driving so slow, but BK is from Texas. Me, I'm out that Bed-Stuy, home of that boy Biggie. Now I live on Billboard, and I brought my boys with me. Say what up to Tata, still sipping my ties, sitting courtside, Knicks and Nets give me high five. Nigga, I be spiked out, I could trip a referee. Tell by my attitude that I most definitely from. Hey.
After she was out in New York, Maya moved to LA, but she still acted hood, bold, sharp, and real. One song hit Billboard, and suddenly she was sipping cocktails with execs and sitting courtside at Lakers games. She even got a high five from a player after a win. Fully spiked out in her designer jacket, she leaned over so far she almost tripped a referee, who just laughed and kept it moving. That night, she told a reporter, "You can tell by my attitude, I'm still Bed-Stuy raised." Her first EP was about growing up in Harlem, where she'd cop mixtapes. One beat brought her back to her cousin's old stash spot. Now she was cruising down Melrose, comparing her studio to the kitchen, where she'd whip up songs like they were recipes. "If I could make it out of that," she said, "I can make it anywhere." That's it for today's breakdown. Hope you enjoyed diving into this song and picking up some real street-smart English along the way. If you learned something new, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a lesson. Catch you in the next one.